Welcome to another episode of Inner Dialogue. Well, inner monologue or inner dialogue with me. I recently realized something that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I realized that there's nothing wrong with it, and it's perfectly normal. And you might be wondering, what do you want to talk to us about today? Now, recently, I'm still looking for a job and things like that, right? And I realized that I didn't necessarily know what I liked and know what I wanted to do because I spent a lot of my time doing things that I didn't like doing to get by. It's weird. It's like I'm in this gray area now where it's like, okay, what does Bryson like? What does Bryson want to do? Because that's my actual name. Bry is just short deviation of it. Sometimes I tell people they can call me that if they don't, understand BRYCESON, because sometimes they think it's BRYSON, but CESON. I'm like, okay, so what do I like? I know I love technology. I know I love computers and I know I love video games. Really, I love video games since I was a kid. I've always grew up in like a family of gamers. Like my uncle, I had two uncles, one on my mom's side, which is my mom's brother, and my dad's brother. Like they play video games. Even my mom and dad play games. Even my aunt plays games sometimes, and even my cousins do. Even a couple of my sisters do. I always grew up with video games around me. Like, even though I didn't fully know what it was back then, I actually witnessed like, what the original Xbox was like. A little bit. I did play Batman Dark Tomorrow. I'm pretty sure the game was called, because I've been, emulating some games on PC, going back to some old classics and stuff that I remember from when I was a kid. And also the fat white Xbox 360 back then. I remember my dad used to have one. I loved them for so long, and I seen the fun that they had, and that's what caused me to pick up video games too. But one of the main things that I wanted to do, ever since I was a kid, was be a YouTuber, as you're seeing right now. A viewer that's watching this video. This is like a dialogue. I wouldn't say this is a house vlog because I'm not really doing anything right now. I have a jacket on because I'm gonna go to the store after I finish recording this. I didn't really have full support from my parents when I was younger. I guess they didn't really fully understand it, and they probably weren't used to, making like the idea of being able to make money off of videos, just talking to people or playing video games, or even just being an outlet, to reach other people. And they weren't probably used to that idea. So my parents didn't really understand it. Like as a kid, that was like my mind and my heart was set on that. Like that's all I wanted to do was play games, make videos. But even now, like I play games occasionally, not all the time. Like I do have games that I enjoy right now. I'm playing Dark Souls 3 because I wanted to go back and duel people. I had a character before that was like level 140, and then I lost that character because I changed my OS on my computer from Windows 11 to Atlas OS. Is the whole thing. But anyway, beside the point. I thought my parents were more of in the way of what I wanted to do. But I just realized that they didn't understand it. And they may have supported me, and I might have been wrong about that. But I haven't talked to them about that in years, so I probably wouldn't know. But that was the one thing I always wanted to do since I was a kid. And my heart was set on that. Like, even when I was in high school, fast forward, because that was like when I was around 10, I would say through like 10 to 18, right? Even in high school, I just was like in classes. Like at first, I took things seriously in my freshman, sophomore year. But then after that, I kind of just stopped paying attention. It was a mix of a lot of different things. I had got to a point where I just didn't care anymore. Where I was at mentally, spiritually, and physically. I wasn't really in the best place back then. I just didn't apply myself anymore. And I was like, what does half of this stuff have to do with me wanting to do YouTube? And that was how I looked at it back then in my mind. Like, this don't got nothing to do with what I want to do. So what am I doing it for? That's how I used to think back then. So I didn't put any effort into it anymore. But now I'm at a point in my life now where I'm 23. I'm like, okay, I don't have to have everything figured out. I know God has that under control for me. But I was like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I like? And at first, for a little bit of time, I genuinely wasn't sure. And I talked to my homie the other day on Sunday, You know, when me and him was in the car, you know, riding to go to the basketball court after church. You know, I think we left around about like 4. Yeah. And I was telling him and I was asking him and I was like, is it a bad thing to not necessarily know what you want to do? You know, when it comes to, you know, careers and things like that. He said, no, I'm kind of in a gray area like that myself. You know, the job right now that I'm working is kind of far, and they don't really give you too many opportunities to grow. You know, even if you get a raise, it's not really too much. So he was looking to get into HVAC. I think that might be like air conditioning and cooling. I'm going to look a little bit more into that. But he was looking to do that, and he had like kind of missed opportunity before. So when he applied again to try to go for it, he was in like a waiting process and a waiting period. So you know what? I was like, okay, you know, it's not bad to not know what you want to do. And it's not that you don't have direction and you lack direction. Sometimes you spent so much time in your life doing things you didn't want to do, when you have the free time to do the research, to do the due diligence, and look and see, okay, what do I like? What do I love? What drives me and what moves me every day? Is this thing going to align with what God's will is and what he wants me to do? You know, when you finally take the time to yourself and you figure out what you want to do, it's like, it feels weird. And I realized that I wasn't the only one in this. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? It's not a bad thing. At first I was like, oh, dang, this could be bad. Like, I'm not sure what I want to do. But then I was like, you know what? I'm 23. I went to a workforce building and I talked to this lady. I don't think she would mind if I say her name. But her name was Melinda, and she was very kind and very sweet. And also she helped me to find some jobs on Indeed that I didn't see. I put the exact location for like where I live, but for some reason it would show me other jobs from other areas. But then when other people was like, they would go look on the site, they would find stuff and send it to me, and I'm like, I was looking for that. I didn't see that. I don't know. Maybe she had some type of search query or it looked different on where she was searching from. I don't know. I'm not sure. But she found some stuff for me, part-time, full-time, everything. And I've been calling and applying to those places. But she told me that her older son is 27, and he still doesn't have things figured out. So with that, you know, with those words of encouragement, I realized, I was like, okay, there's nothing wrong with not having everything not figured out. It's fine. You know, a lot of people are still learning and still growing, and, you know, God is still planting seeds in their life and still opening, you know, guiding them through different pathways and opening up different doors. You know, because I thought it was a bad thing. But I realized that doesn't mean you lack direction. It's just that you're not sure what door that God wants you to go through and where he's guiding you to. You're not sure, you know what he has for you, but you're just not sure how you're going to get to it. And that's fine. You know, there's a lot of work that the Lord is doing for all of us, you know, all the viewers that are watching behind the scenes. But the best thing I could do is just get closer to him and continue to seek him and pray about it and continue to do things every day. Like, okay, what can I do? What's in my control? Okay, applying for these jobs, calling these places, just being proactive, even if I might not have it right now. It's okay. As long as I'm showing him. I know that it does say in his word to be still, but also you can move in faith knowing that he is our Lord and he will take care of anything that we need. For the rest of my life, that I don't want to spend my life doing things that I don't enjoy. And I realized that's why I didn't really have many references from a lot of the older jobs that I worked, because I had a lot of bad experiences and also a bad mindset too. And where I was, especially with my brain being on survival mode and everything like that, it just really wasn't the best. How I looked at things, I just despised a lot of the stuff I did. Because I'm like, this is not really what I want to do. I'm just kind of doing this to get by. And I tried to be joyful through it, and I couldn't fake a smile. I just couldn't do it. But I know that there's a lot of you out there who, you know, are probably going through the same thing. You're in a gray area. You might be working somewhere where you're like, nah, this is not my career. This is not what I want to do. I'm just glad to know that it's not a bad thing and that I'm not the only one. And that there's nothing wrong with that. It is okay. That doesn't mean you don't have direction. As long as you are trying. If you were just not trying at all and you just gave up and you're like, no, I'm just not going to do anything. Now that's different. But if you're actually going through with it, you know, trying trying different doors, trying different keys to different locks. You know, that's more important, and that's what matters the most, as long as you're trying. You don't have to have everything all together and figured out. You don't have to know everything. It's okay. You know, and that's what I've realized and I've come to. You know, that's like the revelation I had. You know, that's what God was showing me. Like, hey, there's other people that are not sure what they're going to do next either. You know, it's not just you. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you've received something from it. Maybe it could apply to your situation, you know, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are looking for careers and they might not be happy with what they're doing. But if that is the case, I ask and I encourage you, if you can share this video with friends or family or brothers and sisters, loved ones, anyone, you know, that could be experiencing the same thing. And I hope you enjoyed this dialogue and this talk. And also leave some comments below if you're going through the same thing, or really you just want to talk about anything. Anything you might have to say, any feedback, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I pray that God blesses you and continues to cover you until the last day.